I think instinctively we know that the things that we see in the news, the things that we just know about the state of the world are upsetting to people, particularly young people. But again, to get data on this and to really understand the extent of it, we're talking about a huge percentage of the population who are having an adverse reaction to the stuff that's going on around the world. Now, that's completely understandable, but it should also send us a very clear message that we need to respond to this. If we want Australians living their best lives, we need to have a think about what's causing this kind of mental ill health, and just having our own awareness that, what particularly young people, but across the board, people are seeing on TV, whether it's war overseas in the Ukraine or now in Gaza, whether it is things like climate change, whether it's just generally the state of the economy and the state of the cost of living for people. There's some real pressures that people are experiencing, and if we want to have a good response to the mental health crisis, we've got to be looking at all parts of it.
Now, are people focusing on their mental health enough, and conversely, could it be that people are focusing too much on their mental health? The more we talk about it, perhaps, do we drive ourselves into black holes?
Yeah, look, I think what this survey is showing us, again, is something that we long suspected, which is there is a cohort of people who are actively engaged in thinking about their own mental health, very conscious of other people's mental health. But there is also a huge part of our population that, for whatever reason, haven't yet started to have that conversation with themselves in the first place, much less the people around them, their families, their friends, their co-workers. We need to get to a place where it's okay to talk about mental health in the same way that we might talk about any other condition that we might be experiencing at any given time. We need to be able to say, yeah, I'm not feeling okay, and I'm going to do something about it.
Do you feel that there's still a stigma, and do people feel that stigma associated with and surrounding mental health issues?
Yeah, look, I think we do. Look, I think it's a lot better than it's ever been, but I think whilst a lot of the stigma has been removed over the last few years, the last few decades even, I think the stigma still lives on in some of our practices, starting with a general sort of unwillingness to talk about this stuff. But when mental health issues present, if we're not supporting people through them, actively thinking about how we can make things better for them, making sure that there's resources in the services that are actually going to treat people for these conditions, then that sort of culture of stigma continues, despite the very, very best efforts of a lot of people who've been doing a lot of work to make that stigma go away.
It is such an important issue, and particularly gets acute at this time of the year, I would imagine. All right, Chris Gambien, appreciate your time tonight.
My pleasure.